when you look at what President Trump did, I mean, as soon as he got in office, I think people realized, the boss was in town, right? Daddy was home.
Right when Trump got in office, him coming here discouraged everybody from coming. But when it comes to it, mass deportation has been delayed.
Do you think a Trump-style crackdown would ever fly in Britain or Europe? With me tonight in Washington, D.C., in the studio, we have Hauman from the Heritage Foundation and Kim Klacik, Republican firebrand, former council nominee. We've got to a stage now where prominent British politicians are unable to defend the state of the country and say quite clearly, we are a joke. I mean, it's this for a once great country, as an ally, as a friend, as an offshoot, I'd say, of Britain. I mean, how bad does this look from where you're sitting as an American?
No, it looks really bad. And this is a lot coming from me because I live in Baltimore. I'm in a sanctuary state, even though they don't label it that. But this looks awful. And I will say, just hearing about what's happening with this, immigrant that was from Ethiopia and that he was paid to basically self-deport. I mean, this is a large opening. I mean, anybody that is involved in human trafficking would look at this situation and say, you know what? We're headed to the UK. I mean, this is a great way for them to
pull
make money.
factor, yeah.
I mean, this is awful. This is horrendous. You're not going to have people coming just from Ethiopia. They're going to be coming from all over the world.
Indeed. Hauman, 1.6 million have, quote, self-deported under the Trump administration. 500,000 have been forced out. A million by the end of the year doesn't sound, out of the question. 20 million at the end of 4 years was the promise, though. Some way off that. Good start, but some way to go, right?
Yeah, well, I think the books are being cooked a little bit in terms of
in what way?
In terms of the 1.6 billion in self-deportation. That's a number. It's an estimate. I think it's our dear friend Art Arthur at CIS kind of came up with that number. You're going off of public available data. It's an estimate. I mean, even us here in the United States. I mean, we were they're paying them to essentially deport as well. You got that through the CBP1 app, which was once used to process illegal aliens.
So you could, for our British viewers and listeners, that was you could apply for asylum before you even reached America.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, we call it unlawful entry, like on an industrial scale. I mean, it was illegal entry under the guise of legality. I mean,
and that was a pull factor in bringing people.
Correct. Well, the CBP1 app, has had multi-purposes. I mean, it was used to help, in the trade front and everything. You had a truck driver coming up with a load. He'd use that app. Then that app was corrupted to be used to come here on a frivolous asylum claim, and now it's essentially being repurposed to be used to self-deport.
You say that Americans, the American government is literally paying people to deport themselves. Do you think voters realise that? Do you think that? I mean, it baffles people when they hear that. Right?
Well, the other thing, I mean, too, it's like I want to see the receipts, though. Yeah. If you're paying somebody to get on that airplane, okay, how do you know they landed? I mean, are you communicating with, that country? Let's say, get on the ground, and then what do they do once they get on the ground? How do we know that they don't get back on an airplane and come here or pay or use that money to then pay a smuggler or trafficker? Yeah. They all still exist to come back.
Give me nodding away there. I mean, it does feel like we're in a sort of doom loop, vicious cycle. Exactly that example happened again earlier in the week in Britain. They set up this thing called the one-in, one-out scheme, which basically meant that someone who had no right to stay in the UK could be deported back to France, a safe country, on the proviso that someone who did have an asylum claim or family in the UK would be swapped. Obviously, first thing that happened, someone got straight back on a small boat and came over. I mean, Trump seems to have been able to break the sort of cycle a little bit. How has he done it? And, how do we export that round the wider West?
Yeah, well, you guys, first you have to want to.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
that's the first step.
I think the public are pretty. I've just told RJ not to swear this time when he came on the show, but I was about to swear. I think the people are pretty naffed off right now.
Yeah, no, they have to want to. But also, when you look at what President Trump did, I mean, as soon as he got in office, I think people realized, the boss was in town, right? Daddy was home, is what they said. That is what they said. And so they knew, a lot of people knew at that point to just turn around.
Just don't even bother.
You know what I mean? Not even bother to do it. And
so actually spin and optics and noise can be as a powerful deterrent as And he's obviously got a very loud voice.
Exactly. So strength is power, and I think that's how he leads in everything that he does. I just don't know if you have somebody there in the UK that is the same as Trump.
Well, Layla seemed pretty angry.
If she gets in, I might
put
go
that on a
across
billboard.
the pond and help
Put that on a billboard. Put that right at the channel.
How is that? Trump's opinion polls ratings are up and down, but he is consistently seen as one of the successes of his Trump 2.0 is being this clampdown on immigration. How much further do you think, you're an expert in this world, how much further do you think he could go? And obviously we're doing a lot to tackle illegal migration, but a lot of legal migration is still sky high in the United States and in the UK.
Well, I mean, first though, too, you look at the top 2 items on his Agenda 47, which he ran on. 75 million people got behind it. First was secure the border. It was done. Turn point 2, it was right when Trump got in office. Him coming here discouraged everybody from coming. But when it comes to it, mass deportation has been delayed. Okay, let's be real.
And does the base realize that? Are they itching for more?
I think the base listen, the base it's become a little bit of an optics show that you're seeing. Oh, the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Now you have a little bit of a squabble in D.C. where Noam and co, who were really driving the optics of mass deportation to show we're trying, even as Congress has taken 7 to 8 months to give them those mass deportation resources via reconciliation. But now all of a sudden you can see DHS leadership is now getting a little, oh crap, we're not really mass deporting as the voters intended. We don't want to do the worst of the worst anymore. Well, that was your guys' intention. She made a good point, though, and I want to stress this again, too. As you saw with the truck driver out in California and everything, we shouldn't wait for blood on the pavement to deport these people. You have 600,000 known criminals, and I'm sure there's even more in jail. California, for example, doesn't report the status of a lot of their criminals that are currently incarcerated. You have 1.4 million with a final order of removal. Those are people who had their claims, adjudicated. They were ordered removed, and then they just gave the middle finger and went back into the country. At least the floor when it comes to mass deportation should be 2 million. Not 600,000, the amount of criminals. Get them while you can. Put your resources out there. Nab multiple in each raid. Let's make people
I mean, how are the wider public seeing this? If the Trump supporters quite like it, wider public, there is kind of a bit of unease about the not necessarily the imagery. What's the word I'm looking for? There's kind of masked ICE agents, pulling people over, arguably in some cases, on a whim, or, getting lucky, going on fishing hunts. Is there a backlash growing against the tactics? And does anyone in the administration care about it?
I don't think anybody cares about it. I mean, look, this was the mandate when President Trump was elected, all right? Everybody voted for him because they knew that he was going to do something about illegal immigration. And I would say independents, even moderate Democrats, of course, Republicans, that's all. We wanted that from the day that he stepped into office. And so I agree with RJ. I think you've got to get in there and really get these people out of here. I know they were talking about more people wanting to self-deport. I don't want the self-deport. I want you to go in, grab them, get them out of here. I've had enough. I mean, think about back in the day where we had Ellis Island. Remember when they shut it down because we had too many people coming over at once? This should have been shut down a long time ago, but because it wasn't, and because President Trump has to clean
it was turned on and turned off at various points throughout American history, right? And then obviously the Second World War.
But we never turned off the southern border.
a mass refugee movement.
We never turned off the southern border, and people were overstaying their visas. We should not allow this to happen. Unfortunately, Democrats have.
We're going to have to go to a break in a minute, but I want to talk to you about this story that's breaking tonight. A German political activist dubbed the anti-Greta is saying that she's going to try and claim asylum in the United States because she's persecuted for her free speech views in Germany. This is Naomi Sibit, I believe is it. I probably said that wrong. She's an anti-migration activist. Should the United States give asylum to white Europeans who are fleeing, they claim, political restrictions in the UK, in Europe?
I think they should have to go through the process just like everybody else. I mean, you can't just come over here and talking about, I'm fleeing. There's a process. And that's what we voted for. We voted for people to go through the process. And so, I feel awful, but you know what? Guess what? I feel awful for our situation here in America with our tax-paying dollars going to some of these people that are just here for a free ride.
RJ, though, Trump has made noise about, Trump and Vance have made noise, and the State Department have made noise about possible granting asylum to persecuted political beliefs in Europe, South Africa as well. Do you think she'll be successful?
I mean, honestly, to be honest with you, I don't care, okay? We have enough going on.
R.J. Herman's, he's here. He just doesn't care.
We have enough going on in our own country. Again, too, mass deportation really isn't happening to how we intended. I don't think we're even fully safe in certain areas. Let's worry about ourselves. But the good thing is, though, with President Trump in office, the people who are running this system now, they're looking at every claim isn't being, again, approved on an industrial scale. To Kim's point, go through the process or whatever, but at least we we know darn well now every claim will be adjudicated and stuff. You don't have magical words like we used to down at the border. Credible fear, I have fear of returning home. And then they put you in through a slog of a process where you know you'll get to disappear into the country because your claim won't be adjudicated for 4 to 5 years. It's just a mess.
Okay, final question. Do you think a Trump-style crackdown would ever fly in Britain or Europe, or is he uniquely blessed in this country that you've got this guy who seems to people seem to listen to?
Oh, well, look, I was endorsed by Trump in 2020, so I think we're uniquely blessed. And I don't think you'll see this over in the UK, but you know what? You never know. Yeah.